So, you're gearing up for the CA Intermediate Financial Management paper, Paper 6A. You know the feeling, right? It can seem like this massive mountain of calculations. But don't you worry, because today we are laying out the perfect roadmap to help you absolutely conquer it.
I mean, it is so easy to feel overwhelmed by this syllabus. You've got all these topics, formulas, different methods. Just trying to figure out where to even begin can be a huge challenge. But what if I told you there's a much, much smarter way to prepare?
And here it is. This is the secret weapon. We've gone through years of past papers, including the latest one from May 2024, and you know what? A really clear pattern emerges. A massive 70 to 80% of your exam, just look at that number, is driven by practical, calculation-heavy questions. Sure, theory has its place, but when it comes down to this exam, problem-solving is king.
So what does that really mean? It means we have to completely shift our mindset. Forget trying to learn every single detail with equal importance. That's a recipe for burnout. Instead, we're going to use a data-driven strategy. We are going to focus our energy exactly where it will have the biggest impact on your final score. All right, let's get tactical. It is time to break down the core topics that consistently pop up and carry the most marks. Think of this as your high-priority hit list. Kicking things off is leverage. Now, this topic shows up all the time, usually for about 4 to 6 marks. And why is that? Well, because it's a fundamental concept that examiners just love. It really tests your understanding of how fixed costs and financing decisions can dramatically amplify a company's profits, kind of like a real lever.
Okay, take a good look at this chart. This right here tells a powerful story about the exam's landscape. You can see exactly where the big marks are concentrated. Capital budgeting and working capital, those are the heavyweights, often worth a full 10 marks each. And cost of capital isn't far behind. These topics, they are your absolute non-negotiable priorities.
Now, when we drill down into leverage, it's really all about the interplay between these two concepts, DOL and DFL. Exam questions aren't just going to ask you to calculate them, they'll want you to interpret what they actually mean. You have to know these formulas cold, inside and out, and more importantly, what they tell you about a company's risk profile.
Now, let's move on to our next heavyweight champion, working capital. A classic exam scenario you will almost definitely see is evaluating a factoring proposal. In simple terms, this is all about analyzing the pros and cons of selling off your accounts receivable to another company for quick cash.
And please, do not underestimate how important this is. Like we've seen, these questions can be worth up to 10 marks. This isn't some side topic, it's a major one. Nailing the cost-benefit analysis of factoring, weighing the fees against the savings, is an absolute must if you're aiming for a top score.
Okay, let's really zero in on the two true giants of the financial management paper. I can almost guarantee these topics will be on your exam, and they almost always carry the most marks. The first giant is capital budgeting. This is an absolute staple of the exam. You should expect a big, comprehensive question here. We're at the solid 8 to 10 marks, where you'll have to crunch the numbers on different investment projects and make a solid, data-backed recommendation. And here's a pro tip for these kinds of problems. It's not just about getting the right final answer. It is all about your presentation. Following a methodical, step-by-step approach, just like this one for NPV, is so critical. Examiners give partial credit for your method, so a clean, organized layout can literally save you marks, even if you make a tiny calculation mistake somewhere. The other critical area you absolutely must master is calculating a firm's weighted average cost of capital, or WACC. This is basically the average rate a company is expected to pay to finance all its assets, and it's a cornerstone of pretty much all financial decision-making. Getting the WACC right means you have to nail each individual piece first. For instance, you'll almost certainly need to use the CAPM formula, which you see right here, to find the cost of equity. Then you've got to correctly calculate the post-tax cost of debt and other sources, and then weight them all properly. Every single step here requires absolute precision.
All right, so knowing what to study, that's half the battle. Now, let's talk about how to study effectively so you can lock in that knowledge and build that rock-solid exam day confidence.
I mean, this slide really says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the path of stress and just spinning your wheels. On the right, that's the strategic path. It's all about being deliberate, focusing on those high-weightage topics we talked about, making formula review a daily habit, and actively practicing with past papers. That is your path to success.
And the key here is to build this stuff into a daily routine.
A formula review might only take 10 minutes, but the payoff is huge. And practicing with past papers under timed conditions? That's not just about testing your knowledge. It's about building the speed and the mental stamina you need for the real deal.
And finally, all of this preparation leads right to this moment. Let's talk about how to perform under pressure on the day of the exam. A solid game plan can make all the difference in the world.
Having a clear strategy for the exam hall itself is just as important as all the months of preparation. You got to manage your time wisely, start with your strengths to build that momentum, keep up that clean presentation we talked about, and always leave time for a final review. A quick check can often catch a simple mistake and earn you easy marks.
So there you have it. We've laid out the high-impact topics, the proven study strategies, and the exam day tactics. By focusing on these high-yield areas and adopting this strategic approach, you can turn this challenging paper into a genuine opportunity to score big. The roadmap is in your hands. Now, it's time to execute.